Welcome to Beautiful Oops, a podcast for children of all ages. I'm going to read a book I wrote and illustrated many years ago called Show and Tell. And I wrote this because my daughter was in elementary school, and when it came to show and tell, I started picking things for her to bring that she really didn't want to bring. After all, it was her day. And I realized I was acting like my parents treated me, and I thought it was time I write a story about it. I will explain some of the pictures because you'll have to imagine them in your mind as I read along. Show and tell. I once found a leaf that looked like a star. I'm going to bring it for show and tell, I told my mother. Don't you think it's kind of small, she asked. My parents went out and bought me a tree from northern Ubuni. I knew I'd be embarrassed bringing something so big to school, but they spent all that money. What else could I do? And Phoebe, the girl in the story, is walking behind her parents as they are pulling a palm tree, which is on a cart with wheels. And inside the planter where the tree is growing are two monkeys. During show and tell, Rebecca shared one of her inventions. She said it would keep paper from blowing away. It was a rock. And she's holding a rock on a piece of paper with a fan blowing by it. Josh shared his trumpet and played a song he wrote about his dog. Everyone in class shared something. Finally, Ms. Ravioli said, "I see you have a little something to share too, Phoebe." Everyone giggled. I wished I still had my star leaf. As Phoebe stood in front of the class, her parents are actually looking through the window from outside the classroom. They're looking at her as she stands in front of the class with this palm tree in a planter, and one of the monkeys is peering out from the planter, and another one is under a table. And all the kids are on the rug. I shared the palm tree. Somebody shouted, "What are you bringing next week, a jungle?" The whole class laughed. After school, I told my mother I wasn't sure I'd ever bring anything for show and tell again. "Of course you will," she said. "We'll find something twice as special next time." A few days later, I found a chicken bone that looked like it came from a baby dinosaur. I told my parents I was thinking about bringing it for show and tell. They had other ideas, and Phoebe, on the morning of show and tell, is looking out the front window as her parents are being interviewed for the news. There's a camera and a man with a microphone. And when you turn the page, you see that her parents are talking in front of the house. And there is a giant Tyrannosaurus Rex skeleton in the back of a truck, and lots of people are looking. It says, "My parents rented a Tyrannosaurus Rex skeleton for me to bring to school. They were so excited they started show and tell on the lawn." Later that morning, Zachary shared a frog he caught in a market. He said he found the frog in the frozen food section. Sarah shared a leather saddle. You could smell horse all over the room. My parents shared the Tyrannosaurus Rex. I stood behind the tailbone. I think they forgot I was there. For the next show and tell, I decided to share my popsicle stick collection. I didn't tell my parents. They had helped enough already. On the morning of show and tell, I woke up to a funny sound outside my window. "Isn't it fantastic?" my mother said. "We got you a lovely herd of cows. We thought you forgot about show and tell. We didn't want you to go to school empty-handed." There's a whole bunch of cows on her front lawn, and Phoebe looks very surprised, and her mom looks very happy, standing there in her bathrobe. "Thanks," I said, "but I'm bringing my popsicle stick collection." "Take the cows," my mother said, "just in case your popsicle sticks aren't enough." In the hall, in her class, in her school, Phoebe has sunglasses on, and she's hiding behind a book as she is trying not to be anywhere near the cows that are now running down the middle of the hall. Somewhere on the way to class, I went left, and the cows must have gone straight. This was great. I was finally bringing something I wanted to share. I think she did that on purpose. Lily shared a painting she made of her brother, Arthur. She used chocolate pudding for paint. Alyssa shared a book she read on raising rabbits. It must have been a good book because all she had for lunch were carrots. When Ms. Ravioli called my name, I was excited. I shared my popsicle sticks collection. Lily asked if they were from a village in northern New Boney. No, I said I collected them from Polar Pops. And looking through the window where her parents usually are was one of the cows. I told everyone that I loved the way Polar Pops tasted, but I was really more interested in saving the sticks. I had tried other popsicles, I told them, but Polar Pops made the strongest sticks, and they were so smooth I never got a splinter working with them. I showed my class that by making a tiny notch on the side of a stick, they held together so you could build things. I brought out the plans I had made to build a skyscraper. Ms. Ravioli let the entire class spend the afternoon working on my skyscraper. That night, my mother asked how show and tell went. Great, I said. I knew they would like the cows, said my mother. I didn't share the cows, I told her. I really appreciated that you and Dad tried to help me, and the cows were really very nice cows, but I kind of wanted to bring something I picked for myself. My mother stopped chewing her peas. I shared my popsicle stick collection, I said. Everybody loved it. My father put down his fork. We're going to build a popsicle stick city, I told them, and it was my idea. Just then, 14 Polar Pop trucks pulled up in front of our house. And there's a man with a giant dolly bringing boxes of Polar Pops. My parents looked at me. I was smiling. It seems like you've got some pretty good ideas of your own, said my father. Thanks, I said. I learned from the best. And the last page shows Phoebe dressed up as the ringmaster of a circus. And it says, wait until you see what I'm bringing for show and tell next week. And all the cows that her parents had brought were acting like they were in a circus on stilts. One's eating fire, 2 were on trapeze, 2 were riding on each other's shoulders on a unicycle, and they're basically a cow circus in Phoebe's classroom. And I think she had learned from her parents to do some pretty fun things for show and tell, all by herself. And that is the end of Show and Tell. I hope you liked the book.
Just one more story. I promise to go to sleep after it ends. Tell me just one more story about Billy and Nibley, 2 very best friends.
And Billy hopped onto his bed, got under the covers, and a few moments later, Nibley came jumping right up next to him and got under the covers. And a few moments later, they were both fast asleep.